Okay, this is Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirits by myself. This is Hegel's famous preface where he critiques the different ways to write a philosophical preface and its superfluous nature. A customary way to write a preface is to provide an explanation of the author's aim, why the book was written, and in relationship it stands with other or contemporary to other earlier or contemporary writings on the same subject. When writing a philosophical book, when properly pursued, such explanations are superfluous. They are also inappropriate and misleading due to the nature of the subject matter. Philosophy cannot commence with summaries, historical overviews, or external assertions of truth, for these are misleading, presenting truth as something pre-existing and eternal. Instead, philosophy must trace the immanent dialectical development of thought, following the unfolding of consciousness from immediate sense certainty through various forms of perception to self-consciousness and ultimately to absolute knowing. In this movement, truth is not a static or pre-existing result, but emerges dynamically from the concept's own self-movement in order for thought to develop from within. Thus, philosophy is not a mere compilation of ready-made truths or externally imposed conclusions, but the living exposition of the concept's self-development, wherein truth unfolds through the dialectical progression of thought, which by its imminent necessity develops from within. It might seem that because philosophy deals with things in abstract and universal terms, to join together particulars of conscious thought, that the aim and final result already contains everything essential, and the process in between, the development of the concept, doesn't really matter. Take, for example, the science of anatomy. General knowledge must be supplemented by empirical effort to know the particular details. But in philosophy, when properly pursued, the universal is not abstractly separate from the particular. It inherently contains and unfolds into the particular through its own self-development. Anatomy, if reduced to muscles and functions, parallels philosophy if mired in vague claims and generalities. Both neglect the subject's deeper dialectical development, bodily interconnectedness in anatomy, and the concept's historical and dialectical unfolding in philosophy. Furthermore, if philosophy were reduced to a rigid, formulaic method, its inadequacy would soon become apparent. Such an approach is incapable of engaging with the dynamic and universal nature of philosophical truth. The contradictions that arise from this failure reveal that any method which presupposes what it ought to generate cannot grasp the inner necessity of the concept's development. This failure itself points to the need for a dialectical process in which thought doesn't impose form upon content, but allows the content to unfold according to its own immanent logic. Referencing other attempts at addressing the same subject matter, risks reducing the philosophical work to a comparison in which one is deemed true and the other false. Such conventional approach obscures the truth by failing to grasp philosophical systems as successful moments in the progressive unfolding of truth, reducing them instead to mere disagreements. One might say that each stage of a life cycle of a plant mutually refutes each other. When the blossom bursts forth, it refutes the falsified bud, and now the blossom is true. It's a true manifestation of the plant. But when the fruit emerges, now the blossom is false and the fruit is true. So was the blossom always false? Or was it true before the emergence of the fruit? This process of the development of plants shows how fluid and mediated truth is, and how philosophy develops dialectically. Each stage does not process its truth immediately or absolutely, but only through through Vermittlung, through its relationship to what it comes before and after. Truth depends on the social and historical context in which it is expressed, and each stage of truth is mediated by those that precede and follow it. Just like each stage of a plan is as necessary as the others, truth unfolds as a necessary sequence of mediations. Therefore, it is better to say that when the blossom bursts forth, it doesn't simply negate the bud, but transit by sublation, Aufhebung, negating and preserving its essence in a higher form. Likewise, when the fruit emerges, it doesn't merely abolish a blossom, but fulfills and transcends it, realizing the truth of the plant's development through this process of sublation. Likewise, philosophical systems that appear to contradict one another may in fact articulate truth as it unfolds at different historical moments. The new philosopher who rejects prior systems often fails to recognize their own standpoint is conditioned by and indebted to those very systems. At the same time, the historian of philosophy may perceive the contradictions between systems, but often lacks the conceptual means to reconcile them, to grasp how their opposition expresses the inner movement of reason itself, in which each system plays a necessary role in the development of the whole.